Hey guys, and welcome to the first of hopefully many videos on Yu-Gi-Oh! Most of my videos are going to be just like this one about the Junk Doppel deck, which I've got here for you. This is the main deck. It is one of my all-time favorite decks because it is so versatile, and you can there are so many plays with it, and I just love the mechanics of synchro summoning. I think that's a great way of synchro summons or synchro mons are just great at promoting non-archetypal decks. So like this one, it's not purely filled with monsters and spells that support one archetype. It's basically a bunch of stuff thrown together that works well together, and that's the deck. It's about the synergy between the cards, and it's not just a single archetype. And I think that synchro summoning promotes that, and I'm all for that. And this deck, the versatility that it offers, and the different ways that you can play it, and just the vast card pool that you can choose your cards from, because there are so many different ways to play this deck. It makes it a great challenge to use it, and that's what I like about it. So most of my videos are going to be about this deck, since it's my personal favorite. And what better way to start off my what should we call it, video collection than a deck profile on this deck. I'm trying to keep this video a bit short because, like I said, this deck is so versatile, and there are so many combos that you can use. I can't explain all of them in just one video. I'm planning to make a lot of videos about the different aspects of this deck, like the combos that it has, the weaknesses, the strengths, etc. So I'll try to keep the amount of things that I explain in this video to a minimum, and just give you a quick overview of how the deck looks at the moment. So we'll start with the main deck. After that, I'll get into the extra deck, which I've also got here. Sorry, that was my cord getting in the way. That's the extra deck right there. It's Gorge token, but I can assure you that there are 15 synchro monsters in there. I run no XCs. So let's get to it. First off, we run triple Junk Synchron. Pretty much the heart of the deck is the reason the deck's called Junk Doppel, along with obviously Doppelwarrior. The entire deck revolves around his effect to bring back a level 2 or lower monster. So you can, when you normal summon him, you bring back a level 2 or lower monster, and especially summon it in face of defense position. Its effects are negated, but you can use it for a synchro summon, which is what you're going to do most of the time. So yeah, that guy is the heart of the deck, basically. You run 3 of them because it's rarely ever dead, and basically, late game or even mid game, when you've got one level 2 monster in your graveyard, every Junk Synchron that you draw is going to be a potential level 5 Synchro monster. So that's great. Then we run triple Doppelwarrior. It's just other part of the name of the deck. He is a level 2 monster, so that's why he has such great synergy with Junk Synchron. Other than that, he also has a trigger effect for when he's used for a synchro summon. So when he's used for a synchro summon and sent to the graveyard, you get 2 level 1 double tokens on your side of the field, which you can then use for further synchro summoning, which is what this deck is all about. So I run through 3 of them because I want to see this card as often as possible. Like, this guy is the main card in a lot of my combos. And it's true that having multiple copies of this card in your hand does clog, because you can only use his effect, which special summons itself when another monster special summons from your graveyard, which is another reason why it works so well with Junk Synchron. But basically, you can only use that effect. You can only use the effect of one of these when one monster is special summons. So having more than one in your hand is really cloggy, and on its own it does absolutely nothing. So that's a problem, but the reason I run 3 is just because I want to see it as often as possible. And yes, it can clog from time to time, but you really want to see it as quickly as possible and as often as possible. Plus, I do run Allure of Darkness, which kind of mitigates that problem somewhat, because you have ways to get rid of dead copies. Anyway, on to the next card. I run 3 copies of Quickdraw Synchron, your other main card. Again, this card clogs, but you want to see it because once you go off, this guy is great. You can special summon him by discarding 1 monster from your hand. He's level 5 tuner, and you can use him as a substitute for any Synchron tuner monster while synchro summoning such a monster. So you can just, keep going off. That's amazing. He does a clog somewhat at 3, but again, you need it, and same with Doppelwarrior. I can understand people who run it at 2. This guy is also fine at 2. But my own build is all about getting off your combos as soon as possible, and you need to run 3 of these for that. You can go for a slower approach and run 2 of both Doppelwarrior and Quickdraw Synchron, which is perfectly fine by me. I personally just chose not to. Then we've got 2 Unknown Synchron. You run 2 because we do run Warrior, and this guy is your only tuner target. So you want to run 2 because Warrior's effect special summons a level 1 or level 2 machine monster or warrior monster from your deck. So if you happen to mill or draw into the first one, you want to have the second one in your deck. Other than that, it's just a great card because it special summons itself, so you can special summon this guy and normal summon something else and then synchro with it. A lot of combos with this card, which I'll get into in probably another video. I don't think I can manage now. Double Level Eater, again, essential to a lot of your combos. Works great with Quickdraw Synchron, and he allows for so many more synchro plays because it's a level 1 non-tuner that you can repeatedly bring back. So lots of plays there. You need it. I originally ran 3 for the same reason that I ran 3 Doppelwarrior and 3 Quickdraw Synchron, but it became too cloggy for me, and I felt that something had to be done. So either take out a Quickdraw Synchron, a Doppelwarrior, or a Level Eater, and I chose to take out 1 Level Eater because we mill a lot, and basically you only need, once you get one of these in the graveyard, you set up. You don't need the other ones, and Doppelwarrior at least has some uses. Even if you mill 1 and you have 1 in your hand, both are useful. I run 1 Synchron Explorer because it's a really dead draw if you do not have the proper graveyard setup. And he doesn't really allow for a lot of combo plays. There is the infamous 3 cards Quasar combo that involves this guy, which is why I run 1, just to have access to it whenever I do draw it. But other than that, it's not such a great card. I'm not a really big fan of it, but I feel that I need to run 1 because I do mill a lot, and if I mill a Junk Synchron or a Quickdraw Synchron, this is the only way, aside from Monster Reborn or Calling Hunter, that I'm going to get any use out of it. So I do run 1, but 1 is all I need. I have no need for more. Next up, we've got 3 Ryko. This is basically where we get to the engine part of the deck, the part that makes it work. It speeds up the deck by milling, and we do want to mill a lot because Junk Synchron revives cards from the graveyard, Level Eater revives itself from the graveyard, Synchron Explorer revives from the graveyard, etc. It's all those cards you want to get in your graveyard as soon as possible. So milling is a great way to do that, and it provides so much speed for a deck that you need it. Also, it's level 2, so you can bring it back with Junk Synchron and go for a level 5 synchro play if you want to. It's a light which feeds BLS, which we also run. I'll get to that later. And its effect is also just great. It gets rid of any problem card, like for example Ophion or Christia, that kind of Microcosmos, cards that really get you into trouble. Second part of the engine is Card Trooper, which also mills 3 cards and basically replaces itself as soon as it's destroyed. So you summon this, when it's destroyed you draw a card, and you can mill 3 cards to boost its attack to 1900, which just makes it a pretty cool beater. It can crash into Thunder Kings and lets you draw off of that. It's also just a great floater move. You set this, when it's destroyed you draw, or you put it in attack mode, attack for 1900, and then your opponent will destroy it on their turn, you draw. Just such a great card to speed things up. A really good card if you're going second, because your opponent can set cards, back row or a monster. You just put this in attack, use its effect. If they decide to get rid of it by using their Mirror Force, you either draw a card, So I've got a Dimensional Prison, you won't get to draw, but at least you baited out the Dimensional Prison, and you got the mill 3 card still. Gets on the bottom Strapple too, so it's just a generally all around good card. If you're going second, even if you're going first, you can put in an attack, just mill 3 cards and just see where it goes from there. Even if it gets destroyed, you get some damage, but you draw a card, so it's not. Or you can put it in defense, you still get to draw when it's destroyed. It's just all around great. Then I run Dandylion and Spore. Not really much of a planned engine, I know, but Dandylion is just so good with Quickdraw Synchron and 1-for-1 because you can send him to the graveyard, get you 2 tokens. That's why I run him, and then because I run him, I decided to also put in the Spore because level 1 tuners are great in this deck. For the reason that you can combo very well with, like I said, when your Junk Synchron and Doppelwarrior play gives you a level 5 Synchron monster and 2 level 1 tokens. So say that the level 5 Synchron monster is a Hyper Librarian and you have a level 1 tuner, which Spore is, you can Synchro summon with one of the 2 tokens that you got to bring out Formula Synchron and draw 2 cards. That's basically one of the most popular plays with this deck, and level 1 tuners are essential to that. On top of that, Spore is just too good if you've got a Dandylion in the graveyard because it sets up so many plays, adds so much variety to the deck, so great card. It is a bit dead in your hand sometimes, but you can just pitch it with 1-for-1 or just put it in defense position to stall for it to get any engraving and then bring it out. Stuff like that. So it's at 1 it's good. I know it's sorry. I know it's unlimited at the moment. You don't need more than 1. You don't want to clog your hand with it. So then some more tuners. Level 1 Effect Veiler, just perfect card. Level 1 tuner, like I said, it's a light, so it feeds BLS again. It also adds some defense to this deck. This deck is all about offense, so you're gonna want to use cards that promote your own plays and to go offensive. But at the same time, you do want some defense because not everything is going the way you want it to every single duel. And Effect Bearer is a great card because it, like I said, it adds defense, but it also contributes to your own plays because it's a level 1 tuner, so you can use it for your own plays, or you can use it to stop your opponent from going off. So that's just great. Same goes for Ryko, really, because at the same it destroys your opponent's card, so it's sort of a defensive card in that sense. But at the same time, it mills, and it's a level 2 card itself, so it also sets you up for your own plays. Then we've got the big boss monster, Blackluster Soldier. You just need to run it. You run a lot of light, a lot of darks, and it's just too good not to. Just an amazing top deck card, and yeah, I don't think I need to explain this one any further. So that's the monster lineup. That's, I think, 24 monsters. We do mill a lot, so we want to run as many monsters as we can. Yeah, because spells and traps, when you mill them, they're useless most of the time. I do run Breakthrough Skill, which is actually still useful even if it's in your graveyard, but that's the exception to the rule basically. So 24 monsters, that's a lot, but you need to run as many monsters as you can. So onto the spell lineup. I run, let's see, Triple Tuning, obviously, searches out Quickdraw Synchron, Junk Synchron, and Unknown Synchron, and those cards basically set up all your plays, so you're going to want to get them as fast as possible. This guy gets you there. So you need this. Also mills 1 card, so if you get lucky and mill like a Dandylion or a Doppelwarrior, you can even go off right then and there. Charter Librarian searches Ryko, 3 targets is enough, plus it mills 3 cards, so it's an incredibly fast card to set up your plays early on, which makes it amazing in my opinion. First turn you just activate this, mill 3 cards, but if you mill anything good and you've got a Junk Synchron, you can go off right then and there. Reinforcement of the Army, another search card, searches out your Junk Synchron and your Reinforcement of the Army, so yeah, it searches out your Junk Synchron and your Doppelwarrior, so get into your main cards, so you want to run this. 1-for-1 brings out any level 1 monster, which we run a lot of. We run a lot of level 1 tuners, so this one gets out your level 1 tuners for the aforementioned Hyper Librarian plus Formula Synchron play. It also gets out your level leader if you really need it, but usually you want to go for your level 1. Combo is great with what's it called, Dandylion. Foolish Burial just sets up the graveyard for whatever you need. A lot of the combos that this deck has involve certain cards in the graveyard, so this card basically substitute for any one of those cards because it sends any monster from your deck to the graveyard. So it sets up so many plays. And there's Allure of Darkness. It adds draw power, and like I said, gets rid of bad hands where you clog with Doppelwarrior or Junk Synchron, or sometimes even Level Legion. If you already got one in the graveyard and you're stuck with one in your hand that you don't need, you can just allure it away. Pot of Avarice is probably the best spell card in this deck. It's dead early game, but it makes up for it late game. It just, it recycles your synchro monsters. It's a +1 when you activate it, and you fill up the graveyard so fast with all the milling that we do and the monsters that we use for synchro summoning that it's always going to be live very soon. So. And we've got basically our 4 staple cards. You need to run every single one of these. Monster Reborn sets up your own plays as well as just being the Seki top deck card that it is. If your Junk Synchron like gets Veiler or something, you can use Monster Reborn to bring back the target that you intended to bring back in the first place, so your plays won't get interrupted by that. Heavy Storm, back row kills this deck, so you need to run Heavy Storm. I don't run MST because back row is not that popular at the moment, but as soon as it gets popular again, I'm gonna put in 2 Mystical Space Stone probably. Dark Hole just gets rid of cards like Archlord Christia and Vanity's Fiend, just stuff that you have a problem getting over otherwise, and just a good card. And Mind Control is just especially good because we synchro so much. So even if we bring out a Junk Synchron and it gets Veiler, we can Mind Control and synchro with our opponent's monsters. Or even if it doesn't get Veiler, it's just a good card to have. And then finally we run 3 traps. Not a lot, but it's enough. We run 2 Breakthrough Skill because it's just so good when you mill it. You can block things like Vanity's Fiend and Archlord Christia for a turn so that you can still special summon. Also works on Ophion if they don't have the infestation to protect it from it. Yeah, it's just generally a good card even if you mill it. Even if you do not mill it and you just draw it, it's still a great card for defensive purposes. So, like I said, we need some defense in this deck because otherwise if we do get a bad hand, and we do get those from time to time, we need to have ways to defend ourselves until we get the cards we need. And then finally 1 copy of Call of the Haunted for the same reason. We run Monster Reborn because we need this to get our plays going even if something like Effect Veiler stops it. So Call of the Haunted is there for that purpose, and even if things are going well, it's just a win more card to end the game more quickly, so to prevent your opponent from coming back if they happen to draw something worthwhile. Okay, so that's it for the main deck. That was 24 monsters, 13 spells, and 3 trap cards, so a total of 40 cards, which is what you want to stick to when you run this deck, because running anything more than 40 makes it so that you see cards like Junk Synchron less likely, and you want to see them as often as possible, so for that reason you've got to stick to the 40 card minimum in my opinion. So anyway, let's get to the extra deck. Formula Synchron is just a staple card. It's a tuner on its own. When you summon it, you draw a card. He's the only card that you can use to go into Quasar. He allows you to loop off of Hyper Librarian way more than you would normally do. It's a staple. I don't need to explain that. Armory Arm is your generic level 4 synchro. It's a great card. Together with BLS, it's an OTK. Together with any other big beater, it's just a way of inflicting some nice direct damage that could possibly end the duel right then and there unexpectedly, which is just great. And then this is a sort of a tech card. It's Dark Diviner. It's also a level 4 synchro. It requires a Dark Tuner and a 1 or more non-tuner insect type monsters, which is kind of very specific synchro summoning requirements, but in this deck it's very easy because we've got Junk Synchron as a Dark Tuner and Level Leader as a level 1 non-tuner, which makes it 4. So that's cool. His effect is great. He cannot be destroyed by battle. When he attacks an opponent's monster, that monster's attack gets increased to 2000, which is the same as this guy's attack. So as soon as you attack into an attack position monster, that monster will always die, and this card will survive because it cannot be destroyed by battle. So it is a great card to get rid of cards like Ophion or whatever. Basically any monster dies to Dark Diviner. Hyper Librarian. The reason this deck is capable of keeping advantage while bringing out so many monsters, you've got to run this card. It's insane how many cards you draw for his effect in a good turn. Junk Warrior is your go-to level 5 Synchron themed Synchron monster. You make him through Junk Synchron and a level 2 monster, or Quickdraw Synchron, who is a level 5, but you can eat a level off of him with Level Eater and then summon him through Quickdraw Synchron and Level Eater. He's okay on his own, but he just, being level 5, you can make him with, like I said, Quickdraw Synchron and Level Eater, which allows you to just basically summon him and draw an extra card off of Librarian if you've got it out, which is the main reason you use it. Catastor is just a generic level 5 card that gets rid of anything problematic, basically. That's just his purpose in this deck. It's easy to bring out. Junk Gardna is probably my favorite Synchron monster in this deck. His effect is, so many people forget that you can use his effect on your opponent's turn as well, which is changing the battle position of one monster on the field once per turn. So you can just basically, if you put this in defense, he's got 2600 defense, so it's impossible almost to get over him, and even if they do have a monster that can, you just switch it to defense position when they attack, and on your own turn you can take advantage of that. Black Rose Dragon is your generic level 7, just blows up the field. You need this as an out-to, I don't know, whatever. Just, it's a good card. Then Junk Berserker, you make him through, I don't know, Quickdraw Synchron at level 2, or Junk Synchron at level 4, or whatever. There's a lot of ways to make this card, and he's just great. You banish one junk monster from your graveyard and decrease one monster's attack by the same amount of attack that the monster you banished had. So basically, if you synchro summon this using Junk Synchron, you bring it out, you banish the Junk Synchron that you just used, and you decrease one monster's attack by 1300, meaning that this guy can take out anything that has 4000 or less attack on its own if you've got a Junk Synchron in your graveyard. It also works with Junk Warrior, the synchro monster that we just showed, and yeah, it's just generally the best level 7 synchro monster that requires a Synchron tuner. Then onto our level 8, we run a lot of them. Scrap Dragon is just a great all-around card. Gets even better if you combine it with Level Eater, because you can just repeatedly bring back Level Eater and then destroy Level Eater with this guy's effect and one card your opponent controls. So you can plus all day off of that. Road Warrior is like the card that sets up so many insane plays. You bring him out through Quickdraw Synchron and two other cards. Most likely those will be tokens or Level Eaters or stuff like that. And you can bring out like your Unknown Synchron from the deck to keep the keep the synchro summoning going. So if you've got Librarian out, you somehow can make this guy, which is not all that hard in this deck, you already draw a card off of Librarian when you summon this, and you probably have a Level Eater in the field which you can bring out with this, and then with this guy's effect you bring out Unknown Synchron to go for Formula Synchron, draw 2 more cards, and you can just keep going from there. Junk Destroyer, he's just generic removal. If your opponent is overextending and you can make this, you can just blow up their entire field and take control from there. Stardust Dragon adds protection to your field because you swarm a lot, so if you bring out this guy and have a lot of synchro monsters on the field, you're sure to not get Darkhold or whatever, so that's good. Since we run Formula Synchron and Stardust Dragon, I'm also running a Shooting Star Dragon. You can summon this guy more often than you'd think, and he's just a boss on its own. Compulsory Evacuation Device kills this guy, but other than that there's not a lot yet. Dimensional Prison and stuff like that, but this is a really good card on its own. You run a lot of tuner monsters, so even his first effect is going to be useful. You can just reveal the top 5 cards and attack any times during this battle phase equal to the amount of tuner monsters that you reveal. So if you reveal like 2, you can already push for 6600 damage. And then finally the 15th card, the absolute boss of the deck, Shooting Quasar Dragon, which is just, if you can bring this guy out, and it's not that hard in this deck, there are a lot of different combos to do that, which I will show you in a different video. But basically when you bring this guy out, you've won the duel. It's rather impossible to get rid of this guy, even if you survive the turn in which I special summon this. Even if you do get rid of him, you still his effect allows you to summon Shooting Star Dragon as soon as it dies. So there's just, if you can bring it out, you've almost certainly won the duel. So yeah, that's 15 card extra deck, all synchros, because we don't want to run exceeds. Our extra deck space is tight as it is because there are a couple of synchro monsters that I would like to include, but I just can't because space is too tight. So yeah, that's basically the deck profile. Like I said, there's a lot of things that you can talk about with this deck. There are a lot of synchro monsters that I would like to have included. I want to discuss that later on. For example, there's Crimson Blader, which completely shut down dragons this format. Stuff like that. You know, there's a lot of cards that you might want to also run. I'm not going to put that all in one video. I'm going to leave it at this for the deck profile. For future videos, you can expect more Junk Doppel content, because like I said in the beginning, this deck is just so much fun to me, and I love talking about it, and I would love to meet new people on YouTube who share my passion for this deck. And yeah, I'd love to just discuss this deck with you. I know I didn't explain every single one of my choices that thoroughly, so to speak, in this video, but like I said, it would be way too long if I did. I'll get into a lot of the combos that this deck can use in a new video very soon, and that will also make it a lot clearer why I run certain cards and why I do run, for example, 3 copies of those cards, like Junk Synchron and Quickdraw Synchron. Right now, it may not. I haven't explained to you a lot of the combos that this deck has. If you're already familiar with this deck, you'll know most of them, so you'll know what to look out for in a deck profile like this. If you don't, then be sure to stay tuned, because I promise that more explanations will follow. The reason I made this video was just to get my name out, let you guys know that I'm here making a lot of these Junk Doppel videos in the future, and this was just basically I had to start somewhere, and since there is so much to cover with this deck, it's impossible to do it all at once. So yeah, if you've got any questions, you can ask them in the comment section below, or send me a message. Do whatever you like. Like I said, I will cover a lot more things in upcoming videos, and until then, ask me anything that you'd like to know. Maybe you can give me ideas for videos that you'd like to see. So yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Thank you for watching, and yeah, I'm out.